All right, guys. It's JoJo on the radio in the studio with. I've known this guy for it's a long time.
We've known
Aaron
each
Cook.
yeah, long time.
I haven't seen you in a minute.
I know. I haven't seen you too.
God, you look great.
You look like you haven't aged. Or actually, maybe you lost some years. I don't know what happened.
I'm a vampire, man. I don't know what it is. Either I'm living right or I've got actual vampire blood in my veins.
Well, if you don't see the sun, it takes care of your skin. So
maybe so. Dude, that's what we were doing. Me and Aaron we basically did an interview off the air. Then I realized I should turn these damn microphones on here. Aaron, you have Aaron Carter. I swear, dude, you're a young guy, but you have had 2 lifetimes worth of career stories. Just the stories you have are so insane. The lows, the highs, the lows. Back rocking out with a high right now. I mean, what we just talked about? How can I give me a capsule of what we were just talking? Like you went through so much as a young at a young age.
Basically, I was just kind of to all you guys listening. I was just kind of filling in, JoJo, where kind of like friend talk, like where I've been and what I've been going through. So a little time lapse for you. It's I had a great career, amazing career, and 4 albums, and I sold tens of millions of records and hard copies before,
like you actually had to have a CD and open the CD up.
Yeah, all that stuff. So, and then it all when I was like 15, 16, that was after my last album, the 4th one, Another Earthquake, and I was still performing all my old stuff, I Want Candy, How I Be Shaq, and I started to get to a point where I was just like, man, I can't identify with myself through this stuff. And so that's
a weird dynamic too, because if you have like a young guy or girl that puts posters on their wall when they're like little kids, then you fast forward 10 years, they won't have those same like it's like wanting you to be that same little kid, and you're a grown dude.
That's what I constantly deal with.
To this day, you probably
even
still
to this day. I mean, people are still listening to Aaron's Party. They say things like, "Oh, I Want Candy." You'll never be able to be I Want Candy. You'll always be Aaron's Party. Like, and sometimes in like a backhanded compliment type of way.
Right.
And I think it has to do with just my fans. A lot of them don't understand my story. A lot of them don't. A lot of them that grew up. Some of my fans are like sometimes ashamed of me. They're like embarrassed of me or something. Like. Like their friends make fun of them for being fans of me or something. It even happened when I was little. Like, it happened all the time. And so that's something that I deal with too, like whether the way I look, if I look too skinny, or if it's just like a lot of judgment from people and accusations that I have to deal with that aren't true. And, all I'm trying to do is just really, man, all I've been trying to do since I turned 18 years old and since my parents divorced and everything came crashing down. When my parents divorced, it was they told me they were divorcing the day of the filming of MTV Cribs episode.
Oh, Jesus.
So, and then I had to go show off the property after an hour after they told me, you're never going to we're moving out of this house. And I had to go show it off in front of the whole world and all my property on MTV Cribs. With my Tupac shirt on and showing off the yachts, knowing that all of this was going to go away.
No kidding.
So, and then it all went away. And then there was battles between me and my mom and my dad trying to get custody. And then I turned 18 years old. I got hit with taxes from when I was 11 and 12 years old that they didn't pay and they didn't take care of.
So it was all on you?
And so it all came back on me. So then I was like, all right, what am I going to do? And I was starting to spend my money on things like shoes and music gear. I went to Guitar Center and spent $500,000 in an hour on music production gear so I could learn how to be a producer. And, I ended up consolidating this day to my laptop because that's just the way of the world now.
Right.
And I use my Logic, software gear, but I'm perfectly fine. But I spent a lot of money in training, and I even was doing private lessons from Full Sail from this guy, this tutor guy named Zach Horn, who was coming to my house and teaching me how to make beats and really, just learn how to do it. And so I just kind of focused on just making beats and then doing whatever I could to make money, with like doing off-Broadway. I did off-Broadway like 6 years ago, but I literally was broke and I had nothing going on. And I got this show and I was like, all right, I only made $654 a week doing 8 shows a week on this show. And I did it for 550 shows in a row. And I didn't ever stop. And I wanted to do it because I wanted to show people, one, I have a fan base. Nobody believed in me in touring, nothing. So then a booking agent came and he was like, hey, let's try to put you on tour. And I worked with him for some few years, and he kind of helped me get back on my feet and, touring and all the old nostalgic stuff. And then I started working with producers in the interim. and I, tried to, because people didn't believe in my beats. No one ever did. Johnny Wright, when I was signed with him, he didn't believe in my production. I was working with other producers. I mean, Steve Rifkin came in after, at Johnny Wright's compound and was like, Aaron will never make it. Like, no, absolutely not. He's not going to do this. Like, you know what I mean? And then, like, other things happen. Like, I ended up having to file a bankruptcy, man, because, like, but I ended up getting a Chapter 7, which is a full discharge. And instead of getting a judgment passed on both of my parents, which I had the option to do, and get them both sent to jail, I chose to take a Chapter 7 and spend hundreds of thousands of my dollars for the forensic attorneys and accountants and tax specialists and everybody to do all the, backtracking for 15 years of taxes to file my Chapter 7 bankruptcy and protect my parents from going to prison for their wrongdoings.
You were at what age at that point?
About 27.
Gotcha. So that was fairly recent then. Okay, gotcha.
Yeah. Okay. And then after the bankruptcy, I was working with some other producers, and then I ended up, getting into some stuff with a producer, like, whatever. I'm not even going to talk about the guy, like, because I ended up believing in myself and using my tracks that I made at my house in Malibu. I was living in Malibu, and I started using my own tracks and put together a team of people that I felt I could trust. And so I produce, and then I brought in a co-producer who co-produces with me, and then I have co-writers who write my projects with me, and it's all about. My Love EP is all about a relationship that I was in recently a couple years ago that I didn't feel like I was being loved in. And that's what I wrote this, and I was writing these songs and producing these beats while I was with this person and trying to let her know, like, I don't feel like you're loving me. You don't love me, but you're staying with me, and I don't get it. So I ended up, doing that project, and this is what came of it. And then I released Fool's Gold independently last year by myself under my own independent label, put like $150,000 into the project of my own money.
Just you by yourself?
By myself. Steve Zapp found out about it, and then, he believed in me. And then I took a piece of Fool's Gold, actual pyrite, and I gave it to him in the first meeting I ever had with him. And I said, here you go. Like, I don't know what's going to come of this meeting, but here you go. Like, this is for you. Thank you for taking this meeting with me, because I need to have... I am a major artist, and
you need somebody to champion you. Somebody.
I need a cosign, and yeah, exactly. Someone who believes in me and understands who I am and believes in me, regardless of, the perception or perspectives people may have about me, because I wasn't going to come back either. And it was all like these weird blessings in disguise, like a series of unfortunate circumstances that led up to something great. Like me not being able to release music over the last 10 years, literally and legally, like
that's insane.
made me just focus on still producing music and getting good at it, so that I could do it on my own. And when I came back, I could talk to you about this, and I could say I did it.
Tell you what, man, I have a
motto.
A motto, a phrase.
Yeah.
Pain equals good music. I've modified that from that. Life equals good music, but I think pain may be more, powerful at times. You've been through so much, and all that going into this music. Not to mention you're forced to not release records over a 10-year period, which made you work on the craft of it.
Correct.
So you're basic. This is. I guess what I'm trying to say is. All that funneled into this moment in time. This is your time, man. This is it. I mean, what a good feeling, because I've heard some great things and great feedback about what you have going on right now, Aaron. I'm not just saying this because I like you and I've known you forever, but it seems like this is all of it happened. All of it happened for a reason. And maybe that's a crazy way to look at it, but did it?
Yeah. I can only hope so. And I can only say that falling on my face after having everything that I've had and I grew up having was the most grateful thing I can say that's happened, and I appreciate, because it taught me how to appreciate life and what means something. And it's not the money. I'm starting to make money again. It's not about that. It's about making music and being good at it and people being proud of me. I want people to be proud of me again. I never was a radio artist. You know that back in the day. The only people that would spin me was Radio Disney because I was that young. It was taboo. I was taboo. I couldn't be on the radio, And I was like, it's crazy how, and I even knew it back then. I was like, I can't believe I'm selling these many records and I'm not even on the radio.
It's pretty wild, dude. Pretty wild.
And I'm so grateful for the fans, and they're still there, and they're starting to come back. They're believing in me again. I really, truly just want people to be proud of me again, and not think that, I died or I'm a meth head or I've never touched any of those things in my life, Like
so any report, we'll get into all this stuff. You guys, by the way, I'm looking at Aaron's face right now, and I can see just the passion. Like I've, some artists come in, and I'm not going to name names, and I love them all. But sometimes it's just I'm just pitching music. This is you're pitching life. This is your life here. I guess you're as raw as I've seen anybody come in and be just totally open and raw and just vulnerable, and you're very real right now. And I'm just pumped. Okay, let's just pause. We'll come back, and I want you guys to hear this. Hear this track we're gonna play from Aaron Carter, and it's gonna blow your head off. It's just crazy.
Thanks,
all
bro.
the stuff that's gone into this. It's just. Yeah, this is not just a project and a song and one of 25 tracks he's released this year. This is a big deal. So what a wild life, man. I mean, I bet I could pick like a random dozen 60-year-olds. They haven't gone through the stuff you've gone through, on average. This guy Aaron Carter, he's still in your 20s now, which I am too. If anybody's whatever, and right, and man, just. All the stuff you've gone through led up to this EP called Love. And the track we're doing, of course, is Sooner or Later. What do people need to know about this Sooner or Later track? I mean, this is almost like the head of the needle, the point of the needle. All that stuff to Sooner or Later, right now.
Sooner or Later, right now. Well, I left the part open. Sooner or later she'll be, and then it's empty, and then there's nothing there. I left that open because during the relationship, I didn't know if she was going to be gone. Sooner or later, she'll be here. I didn't know what it was going to be, so I left it open, and it just stayed open after that.
So your intent was to fill it with something.
Yeah, hopefully something positive, but I never filled it up because then the relationship stopped. I had to leave it.
And this is about the particular person you were talking about, you wrote the EP for?
Yeah.
And she knows this is about?
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm.
And is she?
She was in the Fool's Gold music video.
So she's all cool with this. Not that it's.
She's not cool with no.
Oh, she hates it.
I have no idea. I don't speak to her. I don't speak to her. So.
All right, Aaron Carter. Just so everybody knows, I've known him for a minute, and we shared a moment a long time. I'm a huge, as you know, a huge Michael Jackson fan, as you are as well. And I've told this story on the radio from my perspective, although you were at this same event, and I want to get your take on this moment. I'll tell my story here, and then just jump in wherever you feel is right. But it was in 2003, Neverland. I'm hosting a fundraiser for Michael Jackson.
Mm-hmm.
And he had a daytime fundraiser during the day and a nighttime fundraiser.
Mm-hmm.
I was doing the nighttime thing. So I'm on stage, and honestly, I didn't expect to see Michael. I thought he would probably walk by at a distance, and wave, and that'd be it. I was okay with that, but that's kind of what I was expecting. I didn't want to get my hopes up. Sure enough, this guy comes to me on stage. I said, "Hey, JoJo, when Michael comes up, hand him the mic, whatever he needs, just do your thing. But he's coming up. Michael's coming here. Okay, I'm cool. Super pumped on the inside. Outside, I'm keeping it pretty cool. Because keep in mind, yes, I've interviewed a ton of people, but this is Michael Jackson. All right, and this is still, this is 2003. So I wasn't as experienced. It was a big deal for me, nonetheless. He comes up and we start, Michael, would you like the mic? Everything's fine. Da 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 da. We do our little thing. We bring a birthday cake up on stage. Michael reaches down and grabs a piece of cake, gives it to a little girl or guy in the audience, and the place is going crazy. I'm kind of in the back with the microphone, and you can see this on video. I didn't have a video camera in there, but you can see this on video. Some fans recorded this. I say something to the effect of, "Oh man, we're gonna have a cake fight in here. Look out!" Because I've always heard about these cake fights, Well, at that, I'm kind of back a ways, and I look up, and there's Nick and Aaron standing next to Michael, and you guys start saying a little something back and forth. I've always assumed it was like, "I dare you," or whatever, or "You're gonna do it," or "You go first." Whatever you guys said.
Don't mess with a Carter.
Apparently not. The cake starts flying between Nick, Aaron, and Michael Jackson.
Yeah.
Craziness is happening. all of a sudden, Michael, a couple of seconds later, spins around and he sees me, and he doesn't know me, so he pauses before he throws the cake, and I'm like, I said, "Hit me, Michael." He goes, "Are you sure?" And I'm like, "Yes." He rails me with cake, then he goes off.
And then we all just started doing it.
It was the cake. It was already flying at that point.
It was almost done.
Yes, and then Michael gets taken off to the main house, and you and Nick, I guess, probably there as well. I ended up taking a shower at a guest house at Never. It was the craziest freaking night of my professional life, and I just want to know, what was that? That happened? Did it not? I mean,
no, it's funny. Well, and I have a continuation of that. So,
Okay.
all right, so that's what happened, right? We did the cake fight,
right?
and then I ended up staying at Neverland that night.
How?
Okay. All right, I ended up staying there, and because Michael Raffles, who was, you remember Raffles, the dapper guy?
Exactly, yeah.
So
I used to think he was fake because he would always come up to me like, "Hey, JoJo, I'm with." I'm like, "Yeah, you're with Michael, whatever." But now I know. I've known long that I know who Raffles is, of course.
So after all the cake fight, so we do the cake fight, and then after we go into Michael's house, me, Nick, Rodney Jerkins, and myself and Michael, and Raffles, and we're all sitting around just like having a cup of tea and coffee, all sitting there together. And Nick was gonna leave, and I was like, "Well, I'm staying," so I'm calling mom and dad and letting them know I'm staying. And I call them, and they're like, "Okay, you can stay," and I'm like, "Okay, cool." I was 15 years old, so I stayed. And so Raffles was like, "Michael, don't you have something for Aaron?" And I'm like, sitting there, and he's like, "Oh yeah," and he goes back. So he goes and gets the Swarovski crystal jacket, and he gave it to me.
The what again?
He gave me his jacket. I have his jacket.
No.
Yeah, I have the
kidding.
Swarovski crystal jacket, and then I went riding around on 4-wheelers with him and Chris Tucker all night.
Son of a gun. Is that?
Because remember, Chris was there.
Yep. I didn't. I saw Chris. I saw Mike Tyson there that
Yeah,
night.
Tyson was there too.
I know that the night of I think there was an Oscar De La Hoya boxing match, or some fighter was fighting, and I think Mike Tyson. I think they had the boxing match playing in Michael Jackson's movie theater. And I think for a portion of the night, Mike Tyson was watching the boxing match in the theater. I think I could be wrong with that, but Mike Tyson ended up coming to the cake fight area. But he never got any cake on him because who's going to cake Mike Tyson?
Nobody.
And it was the wildest. When I tell people this story,
They don't believe it.
they don't believe a word of it.
I don't believe mine either. But
It's
I'm just like,
and it's got to the point where I mean, the videos have surfaced, and if you ever see me post a video or a pic of me standing next to Michael, it's a screen grab from a fan's YouTube video.
yeah, exactly.
But
Same thing.
Rodney Jerkins told me here's what I haven't found, because these fans that are shooting these videos, they're shooting primarily to shoot Michael Jackson or you guys, Aaron and Nick. None of these fans are trying to film me. But I'm sure one of these fans has a video of Michael smashing me with the cake.
Oh, we'll get it. Yeah. Just make sure you guys tag us in it on Twitter and stuff. Like, we want to see them.
Aaron, it's a real pleasure, man. Thank you for hanging out.
Thanks, man. Thank you for
Fist
having
bump
me.
to make it official.
Yeah, man.
Boom.
Boom.